Hey guys, thanks for tuning back to The Ordinary Snob, and this is Snobcast number 4. I know, exciting. So today we're gonna talk about all y'all crazy people calling the police on people. That's just, I'm gonna just put it out there. Unnecessarily. So yeah. We got Barbecue Becky, Hallway Hillary,
Permit Patty.
Permit Patty.
Don't forget Permit Patty.
What's up?
Hallway Hillary.
Yeah. What's that? Corner Store Carolyn. Yeah, those are the ones I remember.
The names are phenomenal. Like, the names themselves are great.
That's creativity.
It's very creative, it's catchy, and it's short and it's sweet and it's to the point. But it's just like, it's a real issue. Because if there's someone that really needs police services or 911 services, you're taking that time away from those officers, from, you know, those paramedics, whoever, that could really be helping someone, instead of like complaining about like a little girl selling water on a hot day. Or, I can't really think of another one, but you know, it's just like,
you can't take that into your own hands and take the girl off the street selling water. You gotta call the cops on them.
And you gotta lock that little girl up.
Because she didn't have a permit.
She should not be hydrating people without a permit.
If there were kid cops to call, you'd call them, but you can't. You gotta call the grown-up cops.
No, it's messed up. It's cool that people have cameras on them, because when there are actual issues that police abuse their power, well, there's a way to at least distribute the proof. And not saying the proof always works out in the favor of the person that is releasing the footage, but at least people get to see the footage and make a decision for themselves.
What about the people that do nothing wrong or filming the police, they get shot, end up dead? And yet there's footage.
I hope someone else shot that.
Yeah.
No, there's actually out in Atlanta now, I was watching this Vice thing talking about how there are cop watchers. People are actually like following cops around their neighborhoods and filming all the arrests, all the stops, to ensure that if anything goes down, it gets caught on video, gets distributed to the community, and then the public can make the decision for themselves. As opposed to, like, the crime happens, the police release a statement that is going to most likely go in their favor, you know?
I mean, you have to have oversight. You have to have oversight, and if there's nothing wrong, if there isn't anything,
Jesus Christ.
If they aren't doing anything wrong, then there's nothing to see. They're just doing their job, and there's nothing wrong with having it on camera. They're public figures. They're, you know, law enforcement. You know, they film themselves. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just oversight.
Yeah. It's watching the people that are supposed to watch the community.
Yeah, as long as it's not like taken out of context or, you know, like messed with, it's tampered with, but I mean, you know.
And that's what's cool about the videos, because most of these people, it's not like they have like that great of equipment. I mean, you can tell they're just like standing with a cell phone, but you can tell it's not edited and chopped up and made to look a certain way. You know, it's just the raw video of what happened.
So, for example, let's talk about recently. Corner Store Carolyn. Brooklyn, New York, in a bodega, she accused a little boy of grabbing her butt. And it was actually his backpack that brushed against her. And they had to show her the footage. But before they did that, she called 911.
How old was this lady?
I don't know, maybe 45, something like that. I mean, she looked like it.
She looked vintage? Like, was she looking alright?
Yeah. Okay. But she also impersonated a police officer saying she was a cop.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that's not an emergency.
No, not one bit. But she called the police. Yeah. And you have this little boy who's screaming and crying like I didn't do anything, with this lady who called the cops on
so even if he did grab her butt, you don't need to call the cops on that.
No, you talk to his mom.
Yeah, he can be disciplined or scolded or whatever, but that's not an emergency.
No.
That's completely out of line. She should get fined for that.
Yes, for wasting time and impersonating an officer.
Yeah, it's like,
that's like dealing with someone that's mentally a child. Like she's physically older, but yeah, she's mentally a child still. She never like went past that phase in her life. Like she had to call the superior in to distribute the punishment because she couldn't handle the situation on her own. And looking back, it's not even something that like a superior power would need to come in and settle. You know, you as a 45, 50-year-old adult should be able to look at a child and say, hey, you know, that's not how you treat women. Oh, and then
or say something to the mom.
Say something to the mom. Have a conversation. If that's the point, they're showing the video and it shows like he didn't do anything.
It sure is a good thing there was video, because otherwise you would normally believe the old lady.
Well, we brought up earlier, think of Emmett Till back in the day. If there was cameras around then, I mean that's a very similar situation. You know, it was a woman claiming that a young black kid
whistled at her.
Then it came out on her deathbed. She said that never happened, and she felt so bad about it, but she didn't want to look like, you know, worse than she.
She wanted to rescind her statement.
And she almost took it to her grave, and now her legacy will be that she lied about an interaction she had with a child that not only ruined his life, but ended his life
in a very horrific way.
You know, so you gotta watch it, and you just have to like handle situations for what they are. That situation didn't need to be escalated to the police. That situation needed a conversation with the parent that was there and the child and the person that
I think the biggest problem is people just don't care about other people in this, you know,
I think maybe she was frightened because she saw all these black people around her, and God, if I say something to her, then they're gonna attack me. So let me call the police just in case some shit happens. No, we're not crawling on the table. I said no.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's, you know, everybody's out, you know, to get each other and to, you know, cause trouble and get people in trouble, and, you know, everybody's out for themselves, and people just don't care about each other as much anymore.
I feel like that's the mentality in big cities. But in towns, I feel like it's a little bit more diverse. Because in a big city, you're all crammed. Like, you're all crammed to where you're living, you're crammed in all your shopping and everything like that.
I have a cousin that lives in New York City, and she knows a lot of her neighbors. They see each other at the parks. They're, you know, she's lived there for a lot of her life. She doesn't have she doesn't have that mentality. And then you know, when I lived in Akron, you know, there's a lot of people that have never met their neighbors. You know, it's not just, you know, it seems opposite, but it's, I don't know. There's a lot of people that just don't bother. They don't want to meet their neighbors. They don't care. They see them walking out of their house. They don't say boo to them. You know.
It's a bubble thing.
It's a bubble thing. Yeah.
Pop that bubble.
That's the corniest shit ever.
You gotta pop it, because when you pop your bubble, you start to see that there's a whole world out there
outside of your bubble.
Outside of your bubble.
Pop that bubble.
Pop it.
Oh my gosh.
Have some of this drink too, that'll help.
What's the easiest way to pop that bubble and get out of drinking? No, don't say that.
And not drinking necessarily.
But just relax and...
just being open-minded.
Yeah.
It's just about being open-minded, being like comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because when you're uncomfortable, change is happening. Growth is happening, and if you don't do that, you just end up being stagnant, and you end up calling the cops on a 7-year-old because his book bag hit your butt.
Terrible.
Yeah.
What's the world coming to?
So really quick, before we wrap all this up, Hallway Hillary, what could have been done differently? Do you agree with what she did? Go.
Can I have an explanation? I don't think I saw that one.
Yes,
Hallway
you did.
Hillary. Oh, the hallway lady. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, as someone that lives in an apartment complex, it's a interesting interaction when someone's like waiting to come in the building because they might not have their key on them, or they're waiting for their friend or whatever. And it's like, you want to be like that nice person that leaves the door open, have a good night, But you don't want to just let any old person into your apartment building either. But also, on the other hand, I'm a guy that actually walks his dog and doesn't consider just opening the door.
Like she did. Like, the statement says she did.
Yeah, just opening the door and just like having the dog walk back and forth. I don't know. It just seems odd. But
so stay in your bubble.
Don't stay in your bubble. Walk and get outside of your bubble.
Yeah.
You know, but it's okay to ask someone if you live there or something like that. It's just all about how you go about it. Hey man, I didn't see your key. I just want to make sure you live here, or you know, whatever. There's just ways to go about it. You know, when you start off with attitude, it becomes an ego match, and then things just escalate because you're trying to win a fight of the ego instead of just resolving a problem.
Maybe you should ask nicely if you could follow them up to your apartment. Instead of just doing it without asking.
I mean, you have a better chance, I guess.
Or come up with a drink.
And Rufinol. Who knows?
It's just the way you do it.
I think she had good intentions. She just went about it the wrong way. Again, Marlene, my mom, lives in a senior complex, and their rules are don't hold the door open for people you don't know. Because there have been people that have slept on the couch, and you don't know who you're letting in. I mean, that's crazy. I get it. Maybe she had never seen him before, but to follow me, to question me, to ask, and he could have just said, lady, look, I live on the 4th floor, this is my name, or this is my fob, you happy? Whatever. But she didn't need to follow him. But again, like you said, the egos, that's what that was.
Well, if it was me, if I was that guy, I would have told her, shut the door, and I'm gonna use my key to get in, and fuck off because I live here.
Boom. I mean, that too.
Right.
It is a nice place.
Like, I'm not trying to get in here with you. I don't need you to get in. So shut the door, and I'm gonna use my key to get in, and don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if he's trying to get in without his key, then that's questionable. But if he had his key and he's trying to get in, I would just be like, shut the door. I will use my key and I will get in because I live here. Yeah. And you don't need to ask me where I live or what apartment, because I have a key, and that means I'm allowed to get in here. That's all it is.
Good point.
You could just see like the instant regret when they were in the elevator.
Her face, she's like...
She just realized that like, oh, this guy probably lives here.
Yeah. Like he really does.
He knows his way around.
And then her, like, well, because throughout, like, before they even got in the elevator, like, he's bringing up the landlord and the maintenance guy. So it's like...
The owner's name.
You just don't know that stuff randomly.
Right.
And then it just like clicked when they're in the elevator, and she's just like, I just want to be neighbors. I just
need to know your name.
Yeah,
get to know you.
Yeah.
Maybe she realized that she was caught on camera and she just couldn't walk away, and she tried
retracting.
She could retract it.
You know, it wasn't to the point where like, like she was still gonna get out of the elevator and see where he went.
Yeah, that's following me.
Yeah.
If you really thought your life was in danger by a man coming into the apartment that you know, call the cops then.
And you would not get into an elevator with him.
Nope. If you thought it was a threat.
Part, yeah.
She should have went into his apartment with him.
Yeah. Let me see a picture.
Right. I'm gonna need proof that this is your apartment.
Yeah, that's rough. And then there's like rumors saying that she was a property manager. And I get it's like probably a bigger city or whatever, but when you're a property manager, you sign up, like that is your life. You know who lives there, their names, what apartment they're in. I know people in that field, and it's like that's literally your job, is to know who lives where, when is lease up, or are they trying to like those are things you should know.
Yeah, but you don't know how big that apartment complex was. It could have.
For sure, it was.
But was she the property manager of that building?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so
but
either.
Even if she was, I mean, you could have 500 people. That's challenging.
And I'm not gonna know. It's hard for me to know 20 people and remember them. So I'm just saying.
For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely. It was a challenging situation. I mean, she shouldn't have had the door open, and she should have handled it slightly different.
Is this an ego thing? Because then they both just didn't want to let up. Mm-hmm. And then she realized that she screwed up. And then she tried to like make it look okay. And by that point, the damage is done. Yeah. You know?
And now we're talking about it.
And now we're talking, now everyone's talking
about it. And now you ain't got no job.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and like it sucks for these people, like Permit Patty and all these people that like they'll never live that down.
No.
For the rest of their lives. And I know that like some of these things are like shitty situations, but like those things will stick with those people forever.
Well, some people have to learn the hard way, and they need to remember those mistakes so that make them.
It's a learning lesson.
Yeah, it's a learning lesson. And you acquire knowledge as you get older.
You know what I can't wait? It's for like when all these people have kids and like, oh, you're Permit Patty's grandma.
Mom, that's you?
Like, and it just goes through the generations.
Aw, that's sad.
But maybe like the kids could make a movie and that's how they would like change the perception. I don't know, we're just spitballing here. Hit me up, kids, so we'll fix this up.
All right, well, I think we've, oh, the princess is waking.
Anything you'd like to add?
You want to sing for them?
Yeah,
you want to sing, Lily?
She wants to call the cops on you.
Oh, shit. I knew you were one of them. Just kidding, baby. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to The Ordinary Snob, and we will see you next time.
All right.